Hello everyone, Volker here from MSO-dlx.com, Microsoft Office Deluxe Tools. Let's have a look at how you can work with the charts in Excel and PowerPoint efficiently. I'm assuming you've got your data in Excel. You analyze various aspects, you model your aspects, and then you present your data in PowerPoint. Moreover, I'm assuming that you work professionally, so you need to update your data in Excel frequently, meaning you also need to update your numerous charts in PowerPoint frequently. If that's your kind of work, you really need to work efficiently. And this is what the series of videos is about. Working with the charts in Excel and PowerPoint efficiently. In this video, I'll give you a detailed overview of the charting solutions available in PowerPoint 2007 onwards, and I will point out dangerous risks attached with them, or the strings attached that slow you down when working as described professionally in a large size manner. In the subsequent videos, we will see charts in action, typical daily operational tasks, inserting, sizing, reformatting charts, and eventually updating data. Now, in this video, a detailed overview. In Office 2007, you still have the legacy solutions of Office 2003 and before available, MS Graph and Embedded Excel. If you feel like working with those, you can insert them as objects. The Microsoft MS Graph on the left hand side, or the Embedded Excel chart on the right hand side. If you want to work with them, it's a bit more demanding than the chart objects, which we have as of Office 2007. As of Office 2007, we've got those chart objects, and the beauty of which is you can size and reformat them just as you used to from Excel. But if you really work professionally, lots of data, many charts, frequent updates, you quickly find out, well, it's still taking a long time to prepare your presentations. Therefore, let's have a deeper look at the two types of chart objects with data table embedded or linked externally to a workbook. Here we've got a chart with its data table embedded. I can send around the PowerPoint presentation. Everyone will be able to edit the data, for instance in Excel. The window title tells chart in Microsoft PowerPoint, data table opened in Excel. So, if you want to update the data and you have the data table similar to this, you need to find out where this chart gets its data from. It gets its data from, and we have a slip of Office. One more time. Now I'm doing it directly. But still didn't open the dialog I'm expecting. Open data in Excel. the data table of the chart, select data. Here we go. And now I can quickly see, all right, this chart draws its data from here. And now I can paste the data from Excel into the data table, and then this chart will update accordingly. A word of caution if you're working with charts and data tables embedded. Each time you open the data table of a chart, a phone line, so to speak, is opened between PowerPoint and Excel. Best practices is, as soon as you're done doing your edits in the data table, you closing the phone line, because the more phone lines you have open between Excel and PowerPoint, the less stable your Office session becomes. It may even crash eventually. Or you may observe other artifacts. Alright, so how do you close the data table? Simply Control W, as you are used to in Microsoft Office files anyway. Good. We've started with a chart with its data table embedded. How do you get a chart with its data table embedded in the first place? One way is inserting a chart from here. So you pick the chart type you need. That inserts a new chart and opens the data table. You will hardly ever find that the number of series is matching your data in Excel, and the number of categories likewise never matching. So you need to update the data of this chart with the data you have in Excel anyways. And now you've got a chart with its data table embedded. You're basically replicating work you've already done in Excel, haven't you? Is there a way to get a chart with its data table embedded from Excel so you don't have to duplicate your work? You can do so. Let's open an Excel file with a chart. This chart I want to embed with its workbook in PowerPoint. So Control C in Excel, Control V in PowerPoint, and choosing the option Embed Workbook. Now this chart alongside with its workbook should be embedded. Let's double check. Edit data. Chart in Microsoft PowerPoint. Cool, that's worked. Well, great. The original workbook, and here separate my embedded data table. Nice, isn't it? Is it? The entire workbook has been embedded. Possibly spilling confidential data. That's nothing you expected when you embedded the entire workbook, right? You didn't think of it. So watch out for leaking confidential data if you're working like this. You'd have to reopen the embedded workbook and clean up. Similarly, watch out for inflated file size. If this workbook is large, some 80% due to compression, not 100%, some 80% of the workbook will be added to the file size in PowerPoint with each and every chart. Let's demonstrate that. First, let's close the data table, Control W. Let's delete the chart with the confidential data. And in addition to confidential data, let's simulate a large Excel file. This Excel file currently is 793K large. I am increasing the file size quickly by just adding a picture that has 4 megabytes. Adding this picture. The file size of the workbook, 800K, not even with the huge picture, some 4 megabytes added. Save. We've got now a workbook of 4.4 megabytes. We copy this chart and we paste this chart in PowerPoint with its workbook embedded. We check chart in Microsoft PowerPoint, so the entire workbook's been embedded. This time not only spilling confidential data, but also inflating the file size. Let's close the data table and check for the file size. Our PowerPoint presentation is 616K as of now. Saving after embedding the chart with its huge workbook, the file size of PowerPoint increased to 5 megabytes. And even worse, in my models I have more charts to present in Excel, in PowerPoint I mean. So Control C, Control V, embed workbook. Let's move this chart aside. See whether its workbook's been embedded. Chart in Microsoft PowerPoint. Good. And saving the PowerPoint presentation with the workbook embedded twice. Currently 5 megabytes. We've added the bottom chart, Control S, saving the PowerPoint presentation, and the PowerPoint presentation increased by yet another some 80% of the workbook's size. The PowerPoint presentation now is 9.5 megabytes. It begs the question, how then can you work with charts with data table embedded? Do you really have to replicate work you've done in Excel so as to avoid inflating file size and leaking confidential data? Or is there a different way of getting charts from Excel embedded with its workbook in PowerPoint, but without running the collateral damages? Yes, there is. That's what this series of videos is about. I am embedding this chart from my Excel workbook because this cell was selected, the chart's already been sized to the destination size possibly. Let's check for the workbook embedded. Chart in Microsoft PowerPoint is embedded and the workbook's been cleaned up automatically, so my file size won't have changed a lot. Closing the data table, saving the PowerPoint presentation. We came from 9.5 megabytes and we are down to 634. So we started at 616. Some 20K have been added now by embedding this chart with its data table, but doing so using MSO-dlx tools. That's one way to go, but you may also choose to work with charts that draw their data externally from workbooks. Here we've got such a chart, and if you want to update the data, you can open the workbook PyMatrix 2. So this is where this chart draws its data from. Now that's good, that's great, but meanwhile you've updated your data and your new file is version 4. How do you update the data here? Because this chart is linked to version 2. So each time you think you've updated the data, you've done nothing. You've only opened the old file with the outdated data. Let's close this file. We don't need it anymore. Well, this file is linked externally. Its link is listed here. And you can hardly tell which link actually belongs to which chart. Let's try one more time. Oh, they've improved, it seems. Like maybe that's the link relating to this chart. And you see, if you have lots of charts, each chart has its own link. From here you can hardly tell which link relates to which chart on which slide. And whereas if you want to redirect, update the source, you need to do so for each and every link. Another scenario which frequently happens is that you send around the workbook and the PowerPoint presentation to colleagues and the path changed, and I'm simulating a change in path by renaming the file. So file name and path name have to stay the same for the link to keep working. So that's the message your colleagues oftentimes see when you send them over your data and your PowerPoint presentation. The linked file isn't available because either the original name or the path name have changed. If your colleague has access you've got the source on the network drive, he is just running into the same problem as you do. If you edit the chart, the old Excel model will be opened. And you need to relink. And the quickest way of relinking would be like using MSO tools. You see, that's the old file. The path even is intact. It's valid. But you know you've updated your data, and now you need to update the link of this chart too. If you've got several charts pointing to the old same source file, you may choose to relink all of them in one run. Let's just process this single chart now. Relink this chart, and This chart now has been relinked to a different workbook, but its data, the updated data, has not been imported into PowerPoint. That's why this process is offering you to update the data alongside. And now you see this chart has been relinked to the new version, and it's been updated as well. So, to sum up, you're working in Excel, you've got plenty of charts and plenty of data and frequent updates, and you present your results in PowerPoint. You enjoy the chart objects because you can quickly resize and reformat them as you're used to in Excel. But then, if you really need to update your data, you have difficulties. If the data table is embedded, you need to copy over the data from the Excel into the data table, or if your chart is externally linked, you need to update the links in order to update the data. Both of which have certain challenges. You run the risk of collateral damages, and for that reason I've shown to you the solutions of embedding charts with a data table in a safe way. That's a simple click. Or you can update a chart, or first of all insert a chart externally linked, also with the MSO tools, and then you can update, relink charts like this quickly. And you also noticed that there are additional functions, like if you're using the MSO tools, possibly your chart will already be resized to the target size. All of which are then the minor details we will be looking at in the next videos, charts in action. There we will update these 3 slides. A colleague has added company C, and that also entails now 2022, and these years must be added. Here then we've got new data for the pi matrix, and also we want to create this table with valuation charts. This is what we are going to do in the next episodes of the series, working with charts in Excel and PowerPoint efficiently. If you're curious, stay tuned. So long, Voca from MSO-dlx, Microsoft Office Deluxe Tools.